Patty knows a fraction of this story, I think, but I have some amazing kismet stories, and because my philosophy in life is that we're going to be, you never know where you are, who you're talking to, what's going on, and we can achieve anything in our life that we want, and if we're open to it, God and the universe are going to put it right in front of us. We
That's
just
right.
have to take advantage of it
That's it.
and take that gift and do something with it.
That's
I'm gonna,
right.
Um,
I have, I can't be, my goosebumps everywhere. I keep recording. I
He
keep
gets so
recording.
excited.
yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
I keep recording because the good stuff always happens when the cameras stop,
Oh
right?
my God, we'll do it again sometime.
No,
Yeah.
doing it now. This is being recorded.
Oh no. Oh,
Yeah, yes. And the thing is, when Squire and I'm going to show this to Squire and
yeah,
Louise,
yeah.
and what you volunteered, what you said, is exactly in alignment with them.
I'll tell you
This
a quick
is
story, Howie, real quick. And this is crazy. Patty's heard this, so she's going to be tired of this story. But you know, I I I believe that if you can dream it, you can achieve it. And if it's right for you, God is going to put it in your life. And I had a desire to open a treatment center, a world-class treatment center, and find a property, a ranch. I had this dream of building a ranch, and one day it happened. It appeared in front of me, this property, and I said, "This would be an amazing property." And it happened to be for sale. Someone said, "Come look at it," and I looked at it, and I met the owner of this property, and she said, "I built this as this beautiful inn, and but I don't want to do this anymore." And I said, "This would be an amazing addiction treatment program. It's perfect for what a world-class center here." And long story short, I was sitting there, just little old James Flowers, and I said, "Well, how much is it?" And she told me. And after I got myself up off the ground, listening to the millions of dollars it was, I said, "Fabulous. I want to buy this." And she said, "Well, great. How are you going to do that?" And I thought, well, a bank is never going to finance this ever because it's a brand new business and it's many millions of dollars. And so anyway, I said, "Would you give me 90 days to come up with the money and take it off the market?" And she said, "No." And I said, "Okay, if you change your mind, let me know." The next morning, my cell phone rang, and this woman said, "I couldn't sleep last night, and I don't know why. I sleep very well, and I could not quit thinking about our conversation. I'm going to take my property off the market, and you have 90 days, or I'm going to put it back on the market." And I said, "Great." And I put my business plan together, talked to my family, talked to my friends, talked to people, and I think in the first 30 days, I raised $20,000 and needed many millions of dollars. And I was like, "Oh man." Anyway, 30 days later went by and I'd raised a little bit more. And I had to raise many multiple of millions. And I was speaking at a conference in San Diego, California. And I left a conference to come back to Houston. And I had to be here at 7 a.m. the next morning. I was on the last Southwest Airlines flight from San Diego. And I went to fill the rental car up, and this woman blocked me in and got out of her car, and I couldn't get out of my spot. And I missed my Southwest flight by about 5 minutes, and there were no more flights that night, and I had to be home. So I get on my phone and I'm looking for Google flights and can't find anything. And then I saw this one seat on United Airlines, and it went from San Diego to San Francisco, San Francisco to Houston, and there was one seat on it, and it was $2,200, and I was like, "Oh, 2,200, I can't do this." And I sat there and I prayed about it for a second, and I meditated on it, and I took a chance and I bought the ticket. Got on that plane, flew from San Diego to San Francisco. Everybody got off the plane but me. New people get on, and of course the seat was in first class because that was the only ticket could buy, and I normally fly Southwest. And this woman got on and sat in the row across from me, and the gentleman next to me asked her to switch seats. And she said to him, "I missed my flight today, and I have been at this airport for 6 hours, and I'm tired, and I don't want to switch seats." And he's like, "Okay, no problem." Right before we took off, she leaned over and said, "Switch seats with me. I'm sorry. I was in a really bad mood, but I'm calm, and let's switch." So we switch seats, and she sits next to me, and we take off, and we land in Houston at midnight. And I had opened my laptop, and it said something about recovery on it. And she started talking about recovery, and she said, my son is in recovery, and he's been in recovery for 5 years. How do I know if he's not going to relapse? And I said, well, if I knew that, I'd never have to work again.
Right.
And so we talked about recovery all the way back to Houston, and we landed in Houston. And the minute we touched down in Houston, I remember those wheels hitting the ground. Her cell phone started ringing, and she answered it at midnight. And it was someone that was picking her up at the airport, and they had had a flat tire late in the evening. And she said, oh my goodness. And she looked at me and she said, would you mind driving me home? I said, okay. And so we get in the car, we're driving down the freeway, and she starts we're just talking to each other. And this is at 1 a.m. at this point. And
Right.
this woman says to me, you love what you do. And I said, I do. And she said, have you ever thought about doing a program in the city that we were talking about? And I said, I got chills, and I said, why would you ask me that? And she said, well, my son lives in California and he wants to move back to Texas. And I would love to help my son build a program, but he needs a mentor like you.
Oh, wow.
And yeah. And I said,
What?
okay. So we get to her house, and I drop her off at 1:40, 1:30, 1:45 in the morning. And I gave her my card and said, it was nice meeting you. And I drove off and never thought I'd meet her or see anything, hear from her again. 10 o'clock the next morning, my phone rings. 10 a.m., I remember looking at it, and she said, hi, how are you? And I said, I'm well, how are you? And she said, I'm the woman you met on the plane last night. And I said, yes. And she said, would you have dinner with my husband and I tonight? And I was like, okay. So we had dinner, and her husband said, so what is this thing about a program? My wife asked you if you were interested in the program, and she said, you said, yeah, I'd love to build a program, and you're thinking about one, but you didn't have the financing for it. So I told him about this program, told him how many millions of dollars I needed to raise, which was close to $10 million, and they wrote a check for it.
Wow.
And it was the most amazing experience, God experience of my life. I missed my
Wow.
flight. She missed her flight. We sat in different rows and moved seats. She had a flat tire. Never did we mention anything about it, about treatment center, building a treatment center, until we were about a minute from her home. And she said, have you ever thought about doing this? And it was all because of this kismet, missed flights, missed everything,
Just
and
made me
being so
cry.
open to talking to someone. Yeah,
Wow.
Is the
Amazing.
those
definition,
are my stories.
that
That's amazing.
the definition of a God wink.
Crazy.
Yeah.